Welcome to Little Birdie Podcast, a unique look into the world of sports betting through the eyes of professionals, brought to you by puntingform.com.au and topsport.com.au. MG is back with me after a big week at the Bull. I tell you what, you were a bit glassy-eyed when I saw you on Friday, but it looks like you're full of beans now. How was the Bull?
Yeah, it was great, Nico. Finished it full of running, so it was good. I was actually pretty patient through a lot of the days. Only came home strong with the last two Zara winners that set the Thursday night alight and made sure I finished strong. It was good. Great carnival. They were blessed with their weather after the Monday night monsoon. The track was a bit iffy at times.
Leaderish. It was leader's paradise.
Yeah, some of the pro
Unbull-like.
Unbull-like, yeah. They definitely didn't get off the track too much, but it was great. It was, Warrnambool didn't miss a beat after having the year off. Everyone freshened up, and I was surprised how many people finished full of running on the Thursday. A few went home early. Some didn't make out the third day, but it was good.
Little Birdie tells me that a pro punter jumped in the car and just took off in disgust at the track before the last race on the last day.
Yeah, he did. To be fair, though, he had to fill up day one, and he looked like he was in for a real solid campaign. But went over to take him a beer at about race 2 or 3, and
got the shits.
Yeah, his mate took the beer off me and said he's already in the car on the way home. So it was interesting. Tipped him the Zara thing in the last, so I think his car ride home was good, and then he naturally would have rolled it all into the Storm on Thursday night. So everybody got around him at the Whalers on Thursday night. That was awesome to watch.
Yeah, we did tip the Storm up strongly. It sounds like we tip them every week. They're an auto bet. They're like Jamie Carr. They're just a rolling ATM machine. And DK Weir used to be the ATM machine, and Robbie Smurden when they were at their top down at the Bull. But how was the Little Birdie function on the Wednesday night? How long did the bar tab last on Wednesday night?
It lasted not quite 2 hours.
Yep.
The Jason down at the Cali, he said we'd probably get close to 4 hours out of it on the Wednesday
I thought
morning.
you guys would be cactus by Wednesday, and it'd last a little bit longer than 2 hours.
Yeah, I went around and saw the setup Wednesday morning, took him breakfast, and he just said how the night would roll out. And he said for that amount of money, that many people we were allowed in, we'd get 4 hours out of it. And I said, I'm not sure with the drinking crew we can bring down. So they were like vultures at a bar. They certainly didn't slow down from the 2 hours after the races, but it was good, packed house. The band got up and going early. Yes. I think everybody had a good time. So it was really good.
And you bounced back into town, and there was a couple of tough results in the AFL last week. I guess the first one we'll talk about is Richmond and Geelong. I'll tell you what, the Tigers have been a little bit unkind to you, and I sort of made a bit of a fool of myself, or maybe I'm starting to get proven right. Half-time of the Western Bulldogs-Richmond game, I said the Tigers can't win a premiership playing like this. They jumped out of the locker rooms for the second half of Western Bulldogs-Richmond and made a fool out of me. But we saw them cough it up again last week with Richmond and Geelong. Caught a lot of people by surprise, you included. For me, I've seen this switch on and off from Richmond for all year, basically, and I just don't think they've got their hard edge, their hunger. I don't really care about what's happening in the nightclubs or anything like that, but what's happening on the footy field, these big fade-outs, it's just unlike the Richmond of old.
Yeah, that was your tweet's getting a very on and off run as well, isn't it? One week you're retweeting it, and the next week you're copping abuse, and then the next week you're retweeting it.
I'm getting trolled, and then I'm not getting trolled, but you got to put your opinion out there. It's Richmond are proving a hard team to catch for myself. Got to stay away from their games, I think. But that third quarter was unlike Richmond. Geelong were dominant. They're also proving a bit of a hard team to catch. Geelong, they're a bit in and out. I'm not sure on their form either side of losing to Sydney. Doesn't look good in the form guide for Geelong either, so it'll be interesting to see how they back it up this week as well. But the top teams just seem to be, other than Melbourne, obviously the Bulldogs are going well. They're a bit up and down, a few of them at the moment, even though we all know they're going to be there at the end of the year. But I think Richmond's issue at the moment is just their midfield. The depth has really been tested now. I don't like Cochin out of their side. And then when you add on, Bolton's obviously going to miss now with his incidents during the week. But then you got, Lambert, Pressey is still not back. There's some big holes in the middle now. So, Richmond have got some work to do. They've got 2 tough games ahead, so they wouldn't want to drop both of them. We spoke about it a couple of weeks ago, functional forward lines, or maybe last week, but the forward lines that seem to be clicking get the job done, don't they?
Your Cats.
My Cats.
Yeah, your Cats. No, they were, yeah, I mean, what they kick 50, I think they kicked 15 goals, 3 between the three of them.
Cameron Hawkins and Gary Ryan.
Yeah, excellent work. So, yeah, they look really dangerous. And it's amazing when Geelong, they flick the switch, quick ball movement. And I think that's how teams are starting to play Richmond. They don't want to allow the pressure to come to them. They've got to try and force through the Richmond zone and not absorb too much pressure, and they move the ball very quick, and you see how dangerous the Cats can be with that forward line. They put on a big score.
What'd you say? Move the ball quick, Geelong.
Yes.
Amazing, isn't it, what happens when you just change it up?
Yeah, it's not rocket science.
Yeah, they're completely different to what they were showing early in the year, and they've definitely flicked the switch. Now, GWS and Essendon was a really interesting game. I thought Cale Hooker was probably one of the most unlucky non-recipients of a free kick. I thought he took the mark, and then I think there was like a bit of a whack at the head or the arms. I didn't have a bet in the game, but I thought they were robbed, the Bombers, not to have it. It wasn't going to be a definite to kick that goal. He still was, 40, 45 metres out, but I'm not sure how that didn't get paid.
Yeah, I think it happens a fair bit during the game. I think it was just more highlighted because it was right at the end of the game. Things obviously get heightened late in games. But yeah, Hooker from 40, 45, the ball still could have gone within a 50-metre radius, so it was definitely not a Jeremy Cameron-like result from the week before, not being paid the mark. Whether it was there, it probably was, but I just think whether the umpires are under direction or not, they're hesitant to pay big free kicks late in games, so you're really going to have to earn them, I think.
GWS have turned their season around, 4 out of the last 5.
Going really well, yeah.
They're no pushover.
No, and they've still got a lot of injuries as well. So they've their depth's been tested, and many, including myself, thought that they were unlikely to play finals. Their next month of footy is going to test them. They've got 3 really tough games. So I still think they're more favourite to finish 9th or 10th than finish 8th, especially with Sydney's draw. In the next 5 weeks, Sydney got a real chance to maybe go 4-1 and really put their spot in the 8 to bed for the season. So I think the Giants are still up against it, but they're definitely the 9th team running at the moment.
They've got Richmond, West Coast and Brisbane coming up. Now, let's have a look at the hits and misses for round 8. We'll get some market moves there. Geelong were 8.5 into 5.5, so that's a hit. We've got GWS 13.5 to 15.5. That was a miss. The Gold Coast line was Pickham to 2.5, and that was a miss. The Gold Coast total, this is an area that you love to play in, 160 to 169 was a miss. The Sydney line, 27.5 to 22.5, and that was a hit. Again, the Sydney total, 159 to 151. It's landed 125 there, so that's another hit. The Hawthorn line, well, yeah, 16.5 to 9.5, a big miss there. And then the Western Bulldogs total, 172 to 176, and it's gone 198, and that's a hit. I tweeted it out, and there was the bookie killing blues, I've called it. Carlton had the doggies on the rack, and I tell you what, the bookies around Australia would have been absolutely howling, and it's not the first time that the Blues have let them down. They've been a costly side, I think, for the whole year for the bookmakers, the Blues.
Yeah, you can't get them across the line. Yeah, on the Sunday where all the favourites end up landing, even though Hawthorn were well backed against West Coast, can't explain that one. I'm not sure even the best of modelers would have found the money for the Hawthorn side there, and that went astray. But yeah, all the favourites lobbing on the Sunday, and they got Carlton up by 4.5 goals. The bookies
Sydney
are saying any chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can't get the job done, Carlton, and they're costing a lot of people a lot of money this year, I'm sure, in the betting circles. A good team to bet against in the run, though. Be one of your favourite teams, the Blues. You love it.
I haven't been glued to the chair in the last couple of weeks, which is disappointing, but I'll start to do that. But I think the Blues, I've been against them and made good money out of them for the first couple of weeks of this season, but I think the tide is turning. I think they're finally getting their shit together. And the thing I didn't like about the Carlton Bulldogs game, it was the Bont. The Bont's taken the mark, I think 20, 25 metres out, and there's just no one man on the mark. The concentration lapse for that's just a cardinal sin for mine.
Yeah, there was only 4 or 5 of them there in the contest as well. Just all walked away.
The game was over at that stage.
Crucial
Mentally for Carlton, they'd dropped their bundle.
Yeah, and they're when you chart their goals against, they come in big bunches. I think they're the worst in the comp for leaking 5 or more straight. So it's not a good look for the team. And also what I didn't like, which the market did react and they probably didn't go far enough, was Teague came on in the pre-match interview and basically just said we're going to try and outscore them. And if the Bulldogs score over 100, we're going to try and score, one more point over the 100. So that probably reflects a bit on maybe highlighting that with the Bont on the mark, that their defence set up, or they're not defence-orientated team. And maybe when that mark was taken, they're already thinking about, okay, we'll get the ball out of the centre and let's try and score again. So I just think, all AFL sides must have a balance. It's about two-way running, having someone behind the ball and all like that. But at the moment, Carlton obviously just set up for all offence. It's not working for them.
Well, they haven't got the best forward line either. They're going to come unstuck to a lot of good sides. They did it on the weekend, but a side like Geelong could carve them up. Yeah. A side like Brisbane can cut them up. There's a lot of teams with potent forward lines. Yeah, Even Richmond. Yeah, if you let them free run, you're in trouble.
Yeah, well, I think good sides always have that defensive edge. They always say premiership's won on the back of good defences, but all the good sides have two-way running. They have balance as well. You can't just be all-out shootout all the time because it's a tiring, taxing game, and that's why you see Carlton do drop off in times, because they just run themselves into the ground by having so much running forward of the ball. So, if you think Carlton have the tide's turn, then it'll be a good test for you this week against Melbourne. I tell you what, they want to show some defence against Melbourne because, they could put up a number this week, Melbourne, on Carlton.
I'm not too sure. I think the line of 23.5 is somewhat appealing there.
Yeah, I think the line's right, but I think Carlton's game style with Melbourne's defence, which is, I think it's ranked 1 at the moment, they won't let too many goals in, and Melbourne don't mind scoring themselves. So it'll be an interesting game this week.
Let's have a quick look at the bookie wrap from last week. We've got 7 of 9 favourites there, and then only 2 of 9 covered the line. The totals 4 of 9 there, and then for the season we're running at 51 and 72, so a strong edge there, and the lines 36 and 72 at 50%, and the totals are sort of smack bang on 37 and 72. Still a bit of a question mark with me about these new rules. Is the game better? I'm still not convinced, MG. There are some big blowouts. There's half the games, I think it's just lopsided, open and free footy, but I still don't think the game's in a better place for all these Mickey Mouse changes that they've got.
Yeah, well, I don't think the scoring's only slightly improved. But again, it's just the game style that the coaches kind of bring in with the setup. You get a game last week, we had GWS and Essendon both score over 100, and it's an attractive game to watch. And then at the same time, you switch over and you watch Gold Coast and Kilda, and they match one of their side's scores. So it was a horrendous game, the Gold Coast and Kilda game to watch compared to the other ones. So, exactly the same rules, teams are similar, and, the scoring's 100 points different. So, it's up and down.
Something that's a little bit up and down, or it brings us into the sting in the tail. And I tell you what, the deliberate out of bounds rule, we saw an absolute howler with Bontempelli in the Carlton game, and then Cam Zurhaar was the shank into forward 50. The umpires have got no feel for the game, and they just love to be involved. We said it last week. They just can't stop themselves from getting involved in the contest, and here it is again. There's just no feel for the game, and I was buoyed by the fact that Brendan Goddard's put a bit of pressure on them to make the AFL umpiring a more professional gig. There's so much money in the game. Surely they can afford to make umpires go full-time, and it might bring in a better quality of umpire because it is so important. And at the moment, the fans are at boiling point, and all the fluffy media shows, First Crack and even on the couch, they're finally critiquing the umpires because they're probably just up to the brim.
Yeah, it's I don't know, it happens every week. I mean, it's just crazy, the inconsistency. They seem to have rules of the week as well, pushing the backwards.
They've always done that though.
I know, but you wonder what goes around in during the week when they're being coached and their meetings that they have the umpires. The AFL come out and say, well, this week we'll pay all the pushing in the back that goes on. They've completely dropped off the new rule that they made all the song and dance at the start of the year. Players moving on the mark. Anyone who wants to go back and watch all the replays from the weekend, watch how many players move off the mark. The umpires aren't even watching them anymore.
No,
so
too hard.
Yeah, she's completely dropped off. I don't know. Those two were shocking.
the highlights. Especially Bontempelli. Bontempelli actually directed his player before he disposed of the ball where to go, and unfortunately that player changed directions. Bont kicks at 60 metres, ball takes a left-hand turn out of bounds, runs another 15, and he gets paid deliberate out of bounds. So it was a crazy decision. I'm not sure what the AFL's just.
They just need to put the whistle away. The best thing about finals football is they let the game go on, and there's just too much over umpiring.
Yeah, there's too many rules.
Mm-hmm. There's another thing there's too much of, and it's Eddie Maguire. All of a sudden he's relinquished his job of CEO of Collingwood, but he's out there whacking Koshy. He's got a bee in his bonnet about this jumper issue, which is a non-issue. I think it seems a bit of a marketing stunt and a PR stunt from both the AFL, who have let it go on, and then Port, who just keep fueling the fire, getting all the the hype while they're up the top pointy end of the season to, I guess, try and get more of that South Australian crowd on board. But Eddie came out with an absolute doozy. More gambling dollars bet on one Melbourne Stars match than the entire season of AFL. What are your thoughts on this one? Is that true or false, MG? You've been in the betting world for a long time.
Not sure who's feeding him information. I'd like to know which match of the Melbourne Stars that was. Maybe Eddie's not privy to all the money bet in the AFL. He's also he made comments in that little segment that he was going on that gambling in the AFL will soon start to happen overseas. It's been happening for 2 decades. The bookies overseas just don't pay any taxes or anything like that, and but all the international bookies put up the Aussie rules, especially in America, because they get live matches fed into them. So I know in my time over there, we held pretty good money where I worked. It's not a new betting form, and the AFL betting market is a lot bigger than Eddie thinks as well.
Wasn't Collingwood the last club to have an integrity breach with the mobile phone scandal?
With Collingwood's rap sheet, yeah. Probably. I'm not sure they. What, with the lockbox, you mean, a couple of weeks ago?
He's got a short memory, hasn't he?
Yeah, Control-Alt-Delete. He's very good, Ed. Yeah, I just think, again, this is the AFL just letting it go because they love when presidents are outspoken, puts them, again, front and back page news. Every time you go to Fox Sports and all this kind of stuff, they're talking about either what Koshy's done now, Eddie's done. Eddie uses his commentary role now as a platform to fire back. He's representing Collingwood just as hard as he was when he's not president as when he was.
So the lynch mob's disappointed because they've run him out of Collingwood, but he's still as loud as ever. If not, he's everywhere, and he's now commentating games, which is pretty lackluster as well.
He might need the coin he needs. He's not a bad commentator as long as he's not commentating the Collingwood games. But again, the AFL could put a stop to this real quick. But the jumper scenario, I think once the fans get sick of it, the AFL then they'll pull the pin and say, we've had enough of this issue now. We'll move on to the next one.
Up next, we're going to talk more round 9 AFL. We're going to talk buy, hold, sell. Mark is like Nostradamus in the futures markets. He's been all over Petrarca. He's been all over the Bulldogs, the Bont. And I tell you what, as the season progresses, he's just getting more and more correct. So his early predictions are coming true. We've got NRL, we've got Top Rope Tedeschi, magic weekend for Top Rope. He's going to probably plan himself out at Suncorp or just at the Caxton for the whole weekend. Every game at Suncorp, unbelievable. Hall of Fame, I tell you what, it's a hot week for the Hall of Fame, and we're going to preview all the blockbusters for the NRL. And lock of the week, thank God, with the Bulldozer, we're out of jail because we've raised $10,700 for raise.org, so we're off the hook. There's not much pressure now for raise.org.au, but we'll talk more about that next. But we are powered by puntingform.com.au, Australia's best online form and betting database. Find your edge. If you're betting on the ponies, make sure you check out puntingform.com.au. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast, a unique look into the world of sports betting. I'm your host, Scoot. I've got MG here. He's back from the Bull, and it's round 9 AFL time, so it's time to back some winners. The first game we've got is Friday night. We've got St Kilda versus the Cats at the Dome, 7:50 p.m. The Cats are $1.40, Saints are $2.95, and the Lions 15.5 into 185. The minus. MG. We've been critical about the Cats, but they've turned the corner. Cameron has been the perfect tonic to all their Blues. They're moving the ball much quicker. Now they've got the confidence of that functional forward line. Rowan, Hawkins, Cameron, they're on fire, the Cats.
Yeah, let's hope so. We've gone out and bet this line early. I like the Geelong line they put up. I know I was against them last week, but what I saw last week was as good a football as you'll see after half time. And I think Cameron's just slotted straight back in. He shows what good forward can do, and hopefully that's just changed Geelong's game style a bit, that they know they got the confidence to go forward quickly. So I'm not sure where St Kilda are at the moment. And I just think, other than the Dome, I think Geelong are a real good bet this week.
I tend to agree. There's not much in the Saints' form that I love at the moment, and it's hard to think that the Dome won't suit the Cats.
Yeah, I just think Geelong's defence won't allow St Kilda to score too much. And, I think Geelong's midfield's probably going better now. Cam Guthrie's playing probably his best football. Duncan's back in. I know they're still missing the Dangerfield, but even Selwood's back. They really they destroyed Richmond in the midfield after half time, and I don't think St Kilda are going as well. And I think if Geelong play to 80-90% of what they did last week, they'll cover this line.
I'm a little bit disappointed. We're skipping across to Richmond versus GWS, but my team are in the grand final this week against the Kangas. We've got Hawthorn versus North Melbourne, and there's a bit of a crisis going on at North Melbourne. They've got a stack of injuries, and they're struggling to field a side in the twos. Yeah,
they went in one short last week.
Unbelievable.
And I think they're putting the ads in the paper to fill the back end of the reserves team for this week. Yeah, they've lost a few more, so they've got a lot of injuries, which is we've seen pretty sharp move for Hawthorn early in the week. It's moved 4 or 5 points to market, which is quite crazy. You think 17th versus 18th, and all of a sudden it's nearly a 3-goal start to your Hawks. So
they're hard to beat down there at Launceston, aren't they?
Yeah, and I know you had to fill up last week at the Bull, but you're a brave man if you're investing in this game. It's one I'm certainly going to leave well enough alone, but I think you should just cheer them home. There's money to be made elsewhere. I think that's easier.
I'll be putting Hawks at the heads up $1.45 in a little multi. They got a really strong record down at Launceston, but disappointed that you didn't have it as a blockbuster match. One of the best games to preview. But the next one I'm going to talk about is Richmond GWS at Marvel on Saturday night at 7:25. It's a huge match. Both 8th and 9th on the ladder. Hard to believe with Richmond. It feels like they're higher than that, but they are really, really patchy, the Tigers. And I wonder when the bookies are going to stop putting their foot on them for the futures markets. They need to show their balls and start to drift them, I think. But I
don't think they will.
$1.50 the Tigers, GWS 260. And the line has already been 19.5 into 11.5. MG.
Yeah, I just think it's all starting to add up at the moment for Richmond. Obviously the off-field dramas that we've had in the last couple of days with
Shai Bolton.
With the incident. Yeah, they've lost Shai Bolton, who is, obviously Martin just came back the week before, last week, didn't play a great game. Bolton's been kind of carrying the can in the midfield.
What about Rioli?
Rioli's probably not a great loss. Well, he'll play this week, but we don't know where.
You're savage on him though, aren't you?
No, I'm fair.
You think he's lucky to be getting a game, don't you?
He is lucky to be getting a game, yeah, no doubt. I just think they've got too many injuries at the moment, so he's getting a game. His output's pretty poor actually this year, and I don't think it's a great look for players that are struggling to go out and maybe be out a bit too late and find trouble. When you're having a bad trot, trouble normally finds you pretty easily. So Rioli's probably the smarter move may have been just to go home a little early, but anyway, that's a side issue. I just think it's starting to catch up with Richmond a little bit, just with the amount of injuries. They've got 5 really good players out in the midfield, and coming up now against the Giants. They
got the tail up.
Yeah, the midfield's going. They got some injuries as well.
They got Toby Green. He's one of the top 3 best players in the league, apparently.
Yeah, he's one of the best top 3. No, I mean, I'm a fan of Toby Green. I tipped him as a smoky for the Coleman at the start of the year. But
some other shows reckon he's in the top 3 players.
Yeah, well, that's
They're having a bit of a joke.
Yeah, there's a few players like Petrarca and Bont and a few others might have a different opinion, but anyway. He's a very good player, but no, I just think obviously the line was where it at. I thought it was a touch too big, definitely at the +19, +20, and obviously a bit of chaos I think snowballed. So 11 seems to be about right. But I think there'll be plenty of money for the Giants. I can see this starting single figures come game time.
There'll be some old wounds for some of those GWS players
100%.
from the embarrassment that Richmond have caused them over the last couple of years. So it'll tell you a lot about the resolve of the GWS team, I think. They've got an opportunity to bury the Tigers here and really rub their nose in it. So if they turn up and dog it, especially in the first quarter, it's now or never for the GWS.
Oh, I think the GWS will come in full of confidence. They're playing some good football. I know they only just got over Essendon, but they had Essendon's game, I thought, in control pretty much all day, and got the job done. So they won't fear Richmond. I think they got to look at it as a really good opportunity. Richmond are wounded, and Richmond now know they've got the next 2 weeks against Giants in Brisbane. The pressure's a bit on them because if they do go 0-2 and they end up 4-6, it's a fair way to come back now. That virtually puts them out of the top 4 running. So.
Match of the round is Port versus Western Bulldogs at Adelaide Oval at 20-8 there. $1.62 power, $2.30 the Bulldogs, 7.5, a little bit of a nibble for the Bulldogs at the plus here with topsport.com.au. Second v third on the ladder, Marcos.
Yeah, absolute cracker. And at Port Adelaide as well. So the Bulldogs will really enjoy the challenge going over there. Proves a very hard place to win at. Be a packed house. We've got second and third best defences. Bulldogs have got the best offence. So they'll be tested from everywhere, both sides here. And I think they'll be both looking forward to it. Really see where they're both at. And a lot to gain for the winner, I think.
No Lycett in the ruck for Port?
Massive loss, yeah. And obviously the next month, Port Adelaide have got some testing games as well. They play some pretty good ruckmen, Grundy being one of them. This is a big game for Port, and I think the Bulldogs will go in freewheeling. Hunter is a loss for the Bulldogs as well. Definitely not the same loss as Lycett is for Port. But no, this will be definitely a game to watch, and hopefully they get good weather. It's not too slippery, and we can see the full skills on display.
I haven't really made my mind up how I'm going to play this game. How are you suggesting to bet here?
No, I think it's tight. I think the market's pretty much right at the moment. We'll wait for teams to come out and see how the weather plays. But yeah, if you're going to bet in this game, I hope and I think it'll be a pretty tight contest. So if you're going to bet in this game, I'll be looking to the margins, 1-39 either side, or I think for more value even the 1-24. I hope this is a really good game and it comes down to a close finish, which I think it will be.
Sunday we've got the Melbourne Carlton game at 3:20 at the MCG. Yeah, the line has moved a touch against me. Melbourne 22.5 to 23.5, 127 the D's, 375 Carlton. They shit the bed last week against the Bulldogs. Really turned it up. The bookie killers, the Blues.
Yeah, they might. Maybe they do the same again this week because Melbourne don't mind finishing strongly either. I just can't make a case for Carlton. I'm not saying I think the line's about right in terms of a two-way betting market around that 4-goal mark, but it's hard just at the moment to stack things up to make a solid case for Carlton actually winning the game. Definitely they can be competitive around the line. I'm not going to dispute that. Just the way I see this game at the moment, I think Melbourne are rolling, and I think they're really going to set themselves up for a 10-0 going into the Bulldogs in round 11. And I just think Melbourne's mindset might be a bit different. They now maybe believe they are one of the best sides, and I just can't imagine them letting Carlton put one over them. So I'm just going to go the other way, not against you necessarily. I don't know why all of a sudden you've woken up this morning and jumped on Carlton with all the favours that they've done against you, but I just think Melbourne's midfield's just so dominant at the moment, and I think that's the weakness for Carlton. Other than Walsh, I just think they'll get dominated out of the middle, and their forward line's up and about. They'll just kick too many goals for Carlton, in my opinion.
At the market there, 162.5 the total. Looks pretty lean for a side that's just come out and said, we're just going to attack.
Yeah, I do. I think it's on the low side, but there is a weather watch on the game. Just Melbourne's got some rain around this weekend. But that being a Sunday game, I'd just probably hold off on the total for now. But if they don't get any rain, it's low and it'll go over. So it's a wait and see, I think, on the total. But that's probably the involvement in the game for me.
Outstanding stuff. If you want to hear more of Mark's thoughts or get more of his action play-by-play across all matches, make sure you sign up to AFL Stings in the Little Birdie shop. Now it's time to talk buy, hold, and sell. This is where we talk futures markets, and it feels like this market has not moved in the last month. We're talking about the AFL Premiership market first. We've got Melbourne Demons 550, Port Adelaide 550, the Tigers 550, $6 Western Bulldogs, $6.50 the Cats, Brisbane Lions $9. They got to about 13. West Coast Eagles 11, then GWS and everyone $31 or better. Very, very stagnant. Someone just needs to have a bit of an opinion here and take a couple of sides on. I said that the Tigers would be the one that I'd be rolling out. They should be around $7, but again, they've got a lot of injuries. Thoughts here?
Yeah,
Marcos?
we've said this for the last couple of weeks now. I just think, I think I'm not saying the final eight's set. I think it is pretty close though. And a few people around have said, I think round eight's kind of been a key round in the history for saying not much changes for the final eight, and that is true. And I think there's possibly only the best at one change. So I don't think too much is going to change in the premiership market. But if I was betting right now and I didn't have any tickets in the game, I just think both Brisbane at $9 and West Coast at 11. I know they're the outsiders of the group. I just like the way both of them are tracking with the home ground advantage, and they'll get some players back as well, especially West Coast. I don't mind West Coast. I think they're no means a lock for the top four, but the way they're tracking and the way the season pans out with the players they've got to get back, I would say West Coast are likely to finish in the top four. So I just think maybe they're the value if I was pinching anyone this week.
They can't travel though. A couple of weeks ago they got absolutely smashed by Geelong.
True, but if they win enough games, land in the top four, and they play home finals, good luck going over there and trying to beat them.
I think the side that I still love the Western Bulldogs ticket early in the year. I think Brisbane are good. Just shattering that Cam Rayner isn't around for the Lions, and then Lachie Neale obviously is injured at the moment. But I think the Western Bulldogs haven't lost anything, so I'm going to stick solid there. Now the Brownlow medal. Christian Petrarca, you first tipped him up at $19. He's now favourite, $4.90 at Top Sport, odd price, but let's run with that anyway. Why isn't it $5, Tristan? Marcus Bontempelli at $5.40. Why isn't it $5.50? Dustin Martin, $8. McCluggage, $12. His spin blind turn that's been through the press in the last couple of days was absolutely scintillating. He has lifted this side. He lifted them against the Blues. He is just an absolute freak. In any sort of pressure, he finds a way to evade it, and then his disposal out of pressure is unbelievable. He's got to be a smoky for the Brownlow, I think, for sure. Yep. Sam Walsh, $13. He's come from nowhere in the betting. Sam Walsh, $13. Boak, $13. Ollie Wines, $15. Clayton Oliver, $17. Max Gawn, $18. And Mr. Accuracy, Nat 5, $18. Yep. Hard to really have a bet if you're already on Petrarca at $19, Mark, but and the Bont. I think, was your preseason tip, 13 into 5, so you're very good at this market. Is there any big lay or back at the moment?
Yeah, I'm still a lay of Dusty Martin. I know he polled a few games early, and he's starting to get out in the market. I think we started laying him around the 450 about a month ago, and he's starting to edge out. And I just think with Richmond, with a couple of tough games coming up, may not get the wins either. I think Martin's just well underpriced compared to the top two, especially at $8. And Sam Walsh, I definitely can't have at $13. I know he's playing some good football, but Carlton aren't winning any football games if you have a look at their fixture. So I'm not sure where the votes are coming from. And to have him at fifth favourite's a bit strange for mine.
Media are all over him, so that's...
Yeah, it's good. You can play high level, consistent losing sides, and see how many votes you get. So it's not it's not rocket science in the Brownlow. They only give out a 3-2-1. So some of the media awards where they go out of 10 and then someone consistently keeps getting the 7s or the 6s looks like they're going well, but at the end of the day, when it comes to 3-2-1, they go missing. If I was having one bet this week at value outside the top two, and I wouldn't turn off, keep going with Petrarca and Bont, because at the moment they're starting to be dominant. And I know McCluggage is coming, and
and I wououldn't turn you off him as well, the two Port guys. But if I was having one bet this week, I'd probably look around Oliver around that $17 mark. I think he's
some value.
He's going well, and why Melbourne look like they might win the next couple.
They're going to finish top 4.
There's only 3 blokes getting votes really week in, week out. So I think Petrarca and Oliver are tracking really well. So yeah, I think at the value maybe Oliver, and I'd lay Martin and Walsh in that market.
The next one we're going to talk about is the Coleman Medal market. Wowee. Harry Mackay, $2.20 favourite. Texas Walker, we've been against him. Well, you've tipped him up for a few weeks in a row, and then we've said he's far too short in this market. $4.80. Jack Rewalt, $7. Josh J. Kennedy, $9. Tom Lynch, $10. Darling, $11. Tom Hawkins, $13. Joshy Bruce, $15. And that'd be about the chances. I don't think anyone can win from outside there.
Not tipping out anyone. Yeah, there's some big boys behind the top 2.
Maybe Jeremy Cameron at $21.
Yeah, I think Jeremy Cameron's
smoky.
Yeah. We were talking about him this morning. He's going to give him a few matches head start, but I think he's already at 15. I think somewhere around there. He's in a good.
If you
side,
like the Cats to finish strongly, $21 isn't crazy.
No, you don't have to have much on either.
No.
I was going to say if you're having a bet, I think him he'll give you a good side anyway. I think the favourites are too short. Mackay at 220. I know he's going okay, but
he's still wobbly. If it comes to the last couple of rounds and he just has to kick 3 snags, he's already got some head noise. And
they had Tex Walker in at 275 a fortnight ago.
Carlton will do everything. If they're not really a contender at the moment, Carlton, so they'll do whatever it takes to get him the ball if he's within the Bulls' roar of the Coleman. But that head noise will be scary. He can't back. He's not a backhaul price at 220.
No,
scary.
I think it should be much closer to $4 the field at least. And Tex Walker's, he got off to a fiery start, but Tex Walker might not finish in the top 5 for mine. So. He's still a lay. I'd just be laying the top 2, and if you like someone behind him,
spec him.
Yeah, and if you like Cameron at 21, we'll see how that goes. Have a couple of dollars on Cameron at 21. We'll come back and discuss in a month or 6 weeks' time, see how close he is.
Marcos. That's our wrap for AFL this week. We're brought to you by topsport.com.au. They're Australia's biggest betting bookie. Make sure you give them a chance. They've been in the game for 35 years, but with a bookmaker you can trust. Bet with topsport.com.au. Up next, we've got Nick Tedeschi with the Hall of Fame. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast, a unique look into the world of sports betting through the eyes of professionals. I'm your host, Scoot. We've got MG here with us, and it's time to talk Hall of Fame with Top Rope Tedeschi. We single out someone every week that's done something fabulous or fantastic for the punt. Welcome to the show, Top Rope.
Scooty, MG, great to be back. Great to see the ball hasn't swallowed you, MG. And great to see working hard hasn't got the best of you, Scooty.
Yeah, one of us was working and the other one was socialising, masquerading as work.
Someone's got to do it. I drew the short straw.
How did the 2-up go? That's the most important thing to know.
Yeah, was there 2-up? Was the last week's Hall of Fame nomination was the bull side alley markets? Was there some side action in the 2-up game at the end of the races?
Yeah, I did. I actually had a chuckle when it did start up next to us, probably about 5 minutes after the last, and I actually didn't see too much of it, Top Row, because I got dragged away doing some work. Was dragged into a marquee just planning for next year. But it was quite funny. It was a good 5 minutes after the last. Everybody was celebrating Zara delivering the last winner. And the guy had the coins. He had the flipper. There was a good 20, 30 people. 20, 30 people circling when I waltzed off to have a drink. But I don't know how big it got or how long it lasted. But it never fails. Whoever brings it. We'll have to get him on the show one day.
Isn't it? Yeah. Whoever the 2-up coin flipper is from Warrnambool, make yourself known and we'll probably pay you a fine. I'm tipping the COVID police would have been all over him down there. There's a big police presence everywhere in Danistan.
We'll get him in the marquee for next year, I think.
Start our own side alley action. Now, Jamie Carr's already in the Hall of Fame. Cam Munster, Melbourne Storm. They're all just auto bets. I'm talking about auto bets, but I'm talking about Hall of Famers. And I tell you what, I've got a nominee for this week, and so does MG. MG?
Well, you can't go past the Fox, can you?
6 tries.
We're so pro Melbourne Storm at the moment. Top Rope's considering moving down to Melbourne, but Jamie Carr goes out and rides 5s.
She's already in.
The early lead.
She's already in the Hall.
She's already in. That's how good she's going.
And then we said, surely Top Rope can't
Fox.
find anyone to beat the Fox. 71 years of history, lazy 6. Top Rope, are you trumping it?
I might just interject first.
Oh, no.
I think I've got one.
Oh, no.
In the Bulldozer stream, there was a user called Saint PVL. I've got no idea who he is, but I love where his head's at already. He's obviously taken the piss. We put up $500 bets in for charity. Mug Punter landed one, I think at Wagga at about $5.50 or $4 or something like that, or $6 into $4. So he got the chocolates for charity. But he was trumped. He was trumped by Saint PVL, who had $500 on a $16 winner at Pinjarra, of all places, to take our charity balance, raise.org.au, who you'll know from Lock of the Week, to $10,725. Saint PVL, whoever this mysterious person from the YouTube chat on the Bulldozer stream, he's got to be Hall of Fame. But I tell you what, the Fox, he might have just found the wrong week. Top Rope?
It's a big week for Hall of Fame nominees because I was going to throw up a couple. I was going to throw up one real out wide European Tour winner Gary Higo, who's won twice in 3 weeks. May have been on him both weeks. So I have a real fondness for the fella at 40s and 15s. So he's certainly done me well, but I'm not sure whether he's done the wider public well. So we'll put self-interest to one side for just 1 second. The other nomination I was going to put was gold medals.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
What a heroic win at the Bull.
Yeah.
What just a Bull champion. And this would, of course, make it the first couple to be in the Hall of Fame if we put gold medals in. Clayton Douglas, of course, the trainer, and Jamie Coe, his partner, already in. But you know what? PVL is never going to get in while you are around, Squiddy. So you know what? Let's put Saint PVL in. This is as close as we're going to get for the great man. And if I know PVL, it probably was PVL himself. Just getting in there, calling himself Saint PVL, firing off winners. But that's all PVL does. Hit winners. So, Saint PVL, welcome to the Hall, son.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Saint PVL got the balance for charity over the 10K mark. $500 on a $16
awesome.
winner at Pinjarra. It just sat out. I think it's just bounced to the first couple of pairs and it hit the line like it was a $3 chance. It was a sensational scene. So welcome to the Hall of Fame, Saint PVL. And Nick Tedeschi's just touched on something big. That's next week. I think it's the US Open of golf. So I think it's time to do another golf podcast, Top Rope.
PGA Championship.
PGA Championship.
Definitely.
Yeah, in America.
I love that golf podcast as much as anything, Scooty. It was wonderful chat. So let's do it. Let's get more golf chat. Big Daddy.
So we'll get Big Daddy back and we'll have a standalone golf podcast for the major. Now, Top Rope, there's a fair bit going on up in NRL land. I've heard these murmurings about the NRL going from halves to 4 quarters to stop this mounting injury pile. Is this a load of hogwash or what?
The NRL can't. Heaven forbid the game just sticks with the same set of rules for one consecutive year. I think it is a little bit of hogwash. I'd be very surprised if it went into quarters. They've tried so hard over the last 4 or 5 years to bring fatigue back into the game. So it would be kind of stunning if they went to quarters. So I'd be surprised. I think this is just another loopy idea that's been kind of set up the flagpole, soon to be shot down.
Another funny issue is PVL has buried a 2009 expansion report, and all of a sudden the Gold Coast Titans CEO is not real happy about it. Top Rope.
Well, here's a tip: the Gold Coast Titans have been on the teat of the NRL for about the last 7 or 8 years. So the Gold Coast Titans CEO should worry about trying to spin a dollar for the Gold Coast, if you ask me. So they're an absolute clown show of a club. There we go. I've gotten too excited. We've lost the camera. This is what happens when people go at PVL. We get a bit worked up. Expansion is entirely necessary in the NRL. Like, as great as the game is, the game needs 1, a second team in Brisbane, and 2, to expand its footprint. The game needs to be in Perth. As simple as that. So, and there's all this talk around, is there the talent to get by? Who cares? As long as there's an extra game to bet on the weekend, an extra game to watch, we'll be fine. Let's not be pressured about this. Like people watch the game because of the stand, and if there's one game, here's a tip: Canterbury are in the competition. That's about 3rd grade level at the moment, the way they're playing. So, let's not get too pressured about this stuff. 18 teams, national competition. That's what the game needs.
I tell you what, NRL, the Rugby League, they're slipping. Thursday night football, where is it? Where is it? MG?
I don't know. I couldn't believe it was true. And they're all played in the one venue this week, and they haven't got a Thursday night.
Suncorp Stadium. Why not just pull the trigger on Thursday? All of a sudden, you've just had a big edge over AFL, and you're just giving it up.
PVL.
Nah, it's back next week. Magic weekend. Just 3 straight days of rugby league at Suncorp. You buy a ticket, you're there for 8 games. How good is that? That is a genius idea. They've done it in the UK for about the last decade. It's a wonderful idea. The fans will be there. Double header Friday night, triple header Saturday and Sunday. Outstanding stuff. We'll be back to Thursday night footy next week. And to be fair, they probably knew I was going under the knife. I may not be conscious on Thursday night, so well played to PVL. Always looking after the Ted. So.
I think next year we might have to go up for Magic Round and just strap ourselves in, lock ourselves in a penthouse, and just do, I don't know, like some sort of live
betting. What about a stream? What about an NRL
all
stream?
time?
That's what we need. Magic weekend.
Sports betting stream. Just go to
woe. Have to check health insurance if it's the backup after the bull. What a 2 weeks that'd be. Shit.
Mate, you do it on your ear. Now, Bellamy's been, he's done a bit of a raid up at Broncos. He's found a bloke, Xavier Coates, signed him.
Yeah, the only decent Broncos player, so well done to Bellyache and the Storm. Oh, that's a massive blow to the Broncos. Just the latest massive blow to that ordinary club. He's a great move. He's scored 8 tries in 9 games this year. He's a big boy. He's fast. You know what? He's playing well for the Broncos. So imagine how well he's going to do it with the Storm. He'll be the other side of Josh Adokar next year. Oh, so Adokar's gone. He'll be replacing Josh Adokar next year. So he will probably be their number 1 try scoring option next year, Xavier Coates. So, and if you have a look at the history of Storm wingers, they score a lot of tries. So I would be very confident he's up for a big year and a big representative future if he stays down there at Melbourne.
The Melbourne Storm are enjoying themselves, and I loved the little post, a little 4 a.m. Instagram post with Hectic Cheese, Brandon Smith, and Munster. They were sculling, it looked like pots or pints or schooners or whatever you guys have up there. I know it's different to down here, but it looked like they were playing the tradies computer, the old poker machines, the tradies laptop, sorry. Munster and Brandon Smith out at 4 a.m. just sinking beers after the Storm and the Rabbits game, whereas down here in AFL land, they've gone out and just gone fisticuffs, Shai Bolton and Daniel Rioli. They just do it much better, don't they, the NRL boys on the drink, or do they?
Oh, of course they do. And I've got a question for you. How many times can we put Cameron Munster into the Hall of Fame? Because bloody hell, this bloke could be a 7-time Hall of Famer if this behaviour continues.
He's the president.
Isn't he the great man?
He's the president of the Hall of Fame.
He is a throwback to a different era, these two. Both of them. Old school footballers who play hard, they're very good at their job, they get on the drink, they have fun, they take the mickey out of the coach. They always perform. Oh, I think absolutely fantastic. I absolutely love those two. And there's a little bit of a rumour going around that Hectic might be at the Bulldogs next year. As much as I would love him at the Bulldogs, I don't want to see that smile wipe from his face. So just re-sign with the Storm.
I don't know why anyone would want to leave the Storm, but Xavier Coates going to the Storm is amazing. Just wow, what a replacement for the Fox Adokar. And what have Parramatta done? They've shit the bed with COVID. They're in trouble this week, haven't they?
Absolutely idiotic. So the NRL advised all clubs to not play the fringe first graders who didn't get a run last week in the New South Wales Cup, the reserve grade competition up here. Every club did that. Parramatta did not. Now, in fairness to Parramatta, and in fairness to the bookies, they left the line at the 4.5 when it should have been 20.5, as you would have got on the little birdie chat group last week. So it was a massive bet. So thanks very much, Parramatta, for the fill-up. But now they're short of players this week because we've got a couple suspended, one due possibly out to concussion, and they can't get anyone to the state. So they've named 17 players. They can't all train. It's unclear if they're going to be allowed to play this week, including a debutant, Jacob Arthur, son of the coach. So I love that. I love, though, that he lives with his dad, who's the coach, who's obviously in contact with the entire team. He himself isn't allowed to see him. So classic NRL COVID rules there.
Oh, outstanding stuff. And that line's already on the move. The Warriors 8.5 into 7.5 against Parramatta on Sunday at Suncorp. It won't be a game we're previewing, but I thought they'd bring that to light. We're going to take a short break and come up with the round 10 NRL players, all the big blockbusters. But make sure you support our supporting sponsors, topsport.com.au. They're Australia's biggest betting bookie. Bet with bookmaking and trust, bet with TopSport. But we'll come back and we'll preview round 10. Welcome back to Little Birdie Podcast. I'm your host, Scoot, and I've got MG here. This is a unique look in the world of sports betting through the eyes of professionals. And top rope Tedeschi, he's on fire, Mr. 10%. He's just crushing away at that little margin over the NRL season. So make sure you check out the GGOA and get his full set of tips in the Little Birdie Pod store. Now, top rope, the first match that we're going to have a look at, Friday night football. And firstly, let's talk about Suncorp Stadium Magic Round. They've got 15 to 35 mil today, which is Wednesday, but then it should dry out really, really nicely, shouldn't it? And fit like for nice and fine weather for the rest of the week.
Yeah, normally the fastest track in the NRL, typically very, very much an overs ground. There can be a slight look on the weather, but it is expected to dry out. If there's no more rain, it will definitely dry out. So, and Orange is betting a lot of overs. You have to play a little bit by ear this week. If the ground does start chopping up, that is going to have an impact by kind of the late Sunday games coming around. But I think it'll be it's the best ground in Australia, any sport. So Suncorp, great track. I expect it'll be in perfect nick.
Friday night, 6 o'clock, we got West and Knights. The Knights are favourite, $1.50. West Tigers, $2.60. And the line's gone from 4.5 to 5.5. The total there is 43.5. Thoughts here, top rope?
Thoughts are this is an awful, awful game to start Magic weekend. So got no idea why this one's opening it. Absolute stinker of a match. I'm expecting the Tigers will have a late change. I'm expecting their quote-unquote star halfback, at least their most highly paid halfback, Luke Brooks, will be dropped this week. I think there's a bit of funny buggers going with the team namings. The reserve grade half Jock Madden has been named to in the 14 jersey. Adam Dewey's been moved to the centres. I think that's just Michael Maguire saying, hey, look at this shiny object. We're not going to drop Luke Brooks. Luke Brooks will be dropped this week. Madden will play. You would expect that will sharpen them up. That's a real rocket up the backside of the Tigers. If Brooks gets dropped, anyone can get dropped. So I'll back the Tigers here as an outsider. To be fair, though, I have no idea. Two ordinary teams who are going nowhere.
Fantastic insight there. The other Friday night clash is Manly Seagulls versus the Broncos. So we've got a really short away favourite here with Manly Seagulls $1.37, the Broncos $3.10. The line is 8.5. It's already moved half a point, and the total 45.5. MG's already tipping the over here. Tommy Turbo, no tackle, Manly. Geez, they're scoring a lot of points and conceding a fair few too, Manly. Top rope.
Yeah, over is a great bet in this one. I'll be backing the overs in this one for sure, and I'll be backing the Broncos at the big plus. Broncos have been a sneaky good team in this spot. They've covered 6 of their last 7 at Suncorp, 5 straight at Suncorp, getting more than a converted try. Covered 14 of 21 at Suncorp of a loss. Look, Manly have won 4 of their last 5, but they did concede 32 against the Warriors last week. So, they're hardly flying on that front. So, I'm pretty happy about the Broncos here, and I agree completely with the kid here. I think this will be a super high-scoring game. These guys have a fairly big history of high-scoring matches. So, the Broncos are a big over team at Suncorp, and Manly are a big over team on the road and off a poor defensive showing. So, overs and Broncos plus for me.
Nice time to back them too. The flat 8 has just drifted to 8.5, so maybe snap that up and get that magic 8 running for you. The next game is Cronulla Sharks versus the South Sydney Rabbitohs. Oh, fool's gold here, maybe $1.38. The Rabbits, they're depleted. Cronulla $3.05, and the line is a flat 8. And the Sharks have been nibbled here, 180, the plus 8, and the Bunnies are even money, the minus 8, 43.5. And it's at 5:30 at Suncorp again.
They're depleted, Scooty, but they're not coached by Josh Hanna, so I'll be on to the I just want to say here. Adam Reynolds back is a huge in. The Sharks have just thrown it away. getting rid of Josh Morris. They've lost 4 straight. They've conceded 40 in their last 2. I'd say last week's 15-0 loss to the Storm from South was an aberration. I'd say the Sharks' 48-0 loss to Penrith shows exactly where they're at. So I do like teams who have been off conceding 50, particularly the favourites. So I think the South will get the job done as long as Reynolds plays. He's been named. Wouldn't be jumping into this early. Very keen on the over in this one too, though. But the Sharks have gone over in 10 straight interstate games. They're over off a bad defensive showing. The Rabbits are a big over team when they're on the road away from ANZ, particularly as a big favourite. So South's an over in this one.
Obvious silly question here, but has the coach sacking at Cronulla been a big backfire? Has it? It's not worked for them, has it? He was a popular guy.
He was a popular guy, and he had they were a pretty ordinary roster, and they were lifting for him. Josh Hannah's giving him nothing. He was ordinary as an interim coach of the Cowboy last year. Whether this works long term, different kettle of fish when it comes to Craig Fitzgibbon, but I still don't understand why they blew up a season where they weren't in a bad spot, Sharks. So it's backfired completely from them.
The Sydney Roosters have been backed early. They're playing at 7:45 on Saturday night. 127 the Roosters, North Queensland 380, and the line there has moved 11.5 to 12. 43.5 the total there, top rope. Thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the angle here that the elite teams from last year against the bottom feeders have covered 15 and 21 this year, and I'm happy to back the Roosters. Look, they've got a ton of injuries. They've lost a couple more. Drew Hutchison had punctured lung, the latest to be sidelined. But this team still has James Tedeschi. They've got a back line full of representative players. They've got Sam Walker, the best young player in the game, and they've got a hard-nosed forward pack. They've got 7 internationals still on the side. The Cowboys are absolute pus. I will be backing the Roosters and backing them with a fair bit of confidence.
What just before we go, top rope, what do you think about so Munster's out this week? Bit of money around for the Dragons at the plus.
Yeah, I was pretty happy I jumped in early to the minus 21.5 before the team news came out. So well played there. I was super keen on the club. I would have bet the Storm up to minus 30 with all the players in. Obviously, the team, they're 3 huge outs. They've lost both the hookers, Smith and Harry Grant, which I think is actually more important than the loss of Munster in this one. There will be a reshuffle to the side. Kenny Bromwich will not play hooker. I expect Nico Hines to play hooker. MG's man, the Pap, to come back into the fullback role. I think the Storm will still win pretty comfortably, but confidence is obviously tarnished with those 3 players out. So slightly in the minus, still wouldn't be jumping into the plus, but you're looking at a major reshuffle. So you've got to be tempered with how you bet this one.
Yeah, we saw what the big structural changes made at South Sydney, and they were run off the park. But Storm's ball handling skills in the wet last week was a sight to behold. So I'd still think the Storm can fall over line. They're one of our auto bets. We might even rename the whole show the Melbourne Storm Show. Now, another segment we've been we're sort of struggling with, but on buoyed by St. PVL, we've got the 10K in the bank for raise.org.au. They provide mentors for kids that are going down the wrong path. So a big thanks to the guys in the Bulldozer stream for all their hard work and the charity bets there. Hat tip to them, and we're making a meal of trying to get these lock of the weeks to the magical $5,000 mark. So at least something is going to charity there. But top rope, Storm, yes, last week. Canterbury Bulldogs let you down, plus 10.5. They got wiped off the park. You're back down to $200. Scooty, he had Port, that's me, Port, Western Bulldogs, Storm, and then the Brisbane Lions with a venue change. So I got a slight deduction there. So my 200 turned into 497, and MG's nodding his head. He's up and about. He left out the Tigers, so he had GWS, who fell into the Saints, 380 at 275. So he's got 1,045 to play with. But top rope, let's go to you first for your lock of the week, if you're still interested.
I'll tell you what, these kids, it's going to be a tough life. Now, I'll tell you what, they're not getting much cash, but they're learning some valuable life lessons right now. So if you're listening, kids, gambling's tough, life is tough. Just knuckle down. I've got a four-league multi to try and blast out. So this is sure to go well. straight up, Raiders, Rabbits, Roosters, Storm, $2.33.
Raiders, Rabbits, Roosters, bit of alliteration there, and then the Storm.
Storm.
And Storm at $2.33. The Drifting Storm. MG?
Yeah, I can't back the Storm.
You're not allowed.
I'm AFL only, but I'm just going to, I think this week's a bit tougher, so I'm just going to have a treble head-to-head. Brisbane at 132, Melbourne at 127, and West Coast at 110, so it's 184.
184.
And a win will see me closing in on the 2K barrier, which I don't think's been touched yet, so, and then I might be only 1 or 2 hits away from the magic mark.
It feels like we're all close, but I'm sure something
No, it doesn't. One of us will get there.
One of us will get to the 5,000.
It feels like I've just taken off in the annual. That first jump is looking very big. So when I get to the Tozer Road double, I know I'm in all sorts.
Hopefully there's a bit of gold medals about one of us. But I'm going to take the Cats to beat the Saints. That's Geelong. Brisbane Lions they'll beat the Suns. The West Coast Eagles will beat the Crows. And surprise, surprise, Scooty's put in his Storm at $1.17 now, which is absolute luxury. So I'm going to have my $4.97 at $2.37 on that gift, that 4-leg multi. So I think it's going to be smooth sailing maybe this week for one or all of us.
Yeah, we'll all get it together. We'll toil away all year, and then we'll land them at the end, I think. So
Top Rope, fantastic stuff from you, and make sure you flag this magic round up at Brisbane. Now, I couldn't think of anything better than a little bit of and then you've got the Doomben 10,000 this week. Imagine how much fun you could have on the punt up there. You could go to the Rugby League on the Friday. You'd probably go to Love and Rockets that night or Blackbird, and then you'd slide into the races on the Saturday. You could watch the rugby on your phone. You could watch some AFL, and then you could go to, I think they've got a ballet up in Fortitude Valley. I think the South Melbourne franchise has now moved up to Brisbane, a little birdie tells me. So, Top Rope, can you flag it so we can go this time next year? Get a leave pass from the missus?
If I'd known that, we would have been there this year.
Fantastic stuff. Thanks, Top Rope.
Great team.
See you, Top Rope.
Oh, that wraps us up for the show. It's going to be a massive week of sports betting. It is every week. We're just right in the groove now. We've got past the Bull. We've got the Sandown Cup dog heats next week. So we've got another stream. So we're on the quick backup. So Troy Little and Paddy McKenna have got the reins this next Thursday night, the 20th of May. So make sure you check out the Sandown Dog stream on Little Birdie. We'll open up the stream on Sunday. We'll talk to Paddy McKenna on Bet Doctor tomorrow. But good luck on the weekend with your AFL action, MG. Yeah. You're nice and fresh. You're back.
Yeah, it should be good. Everybody get around the Dogs because remember what they did last time, had a big win. So they'll continue their form, and anyone who is involved in the Bull can back up in the Dogs next week.
Exactly. Yeah, it was a grind. I spoke to a lot of punters down at down the Bull, and I spoke to Tristan. They had a feel the first couple of days. Yeah. We just, I guess we lived to fight another day, and all of a sudden the punters got their money back. It just didn't work out for us early, and it would have been just a different story coming the last day. If you had bullets, you could just absolutely smash those last two winners. But for us, was trying to get our heads out of water. But hopefully you guys can reload, and hopefully Troy and Paddy, they turned 133,000 into $500,000 last time. So there's no pressure. There's a ton of pressure, and I'm tipping the 133K bank will be a lot bigger than the first time they went around. So make sure you check that out. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Little Birdie TV. We're in the Apple Store, Spotify, SoundCloud. We're everywhere. You just can't miss us. So good luck on the punt. Hopefully you bash your bookie, and we'll see you next week.